Hello, welcome to another open box review. We'll just call it that. This is another older kit. This is the VE1 Elintseeker by Hasegawa, and it covers a variant of the VF1 Valkyrie from SDF Macross, or Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, which is also the series that was adapted in the US to a lesser known series called Robotech. But this is more specifically from the 1984 movie, Do You Remember Love? Or could it be 82? I don't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. So in the box, it's a 72nd scale kit, and it is a AWACS version of the VF1 fighter, the two-seat version as well. There's some built-up pictures of it on its landing gear. Sorry for the glare. I am probably going to build it in flight, so sorry, something in the eye. More similar to this picture here, with no gear down. And then some shots from the animated film it was used in for a very split-second scene as well. It was seen in the original series, but again, very quick glimpse, not too well detailed. Same thing here. So, put this aside and we'll get on to the parts and the instructions. So one neat thing here is it actually comes with some of the original artwork for the fighter, which I think is kind of neat. It just kind of lets you know what they're thinking on how it moves, because technically this is supposed to be a transforming fighter. It turns into like a humanoid robot. So this piece becomes a weapon, that's its head, the dish moves up, there's a whole bunch of other things. This kit, however, is a static kit. It is the fighter version only. The instructions are typical Hasegawa. Multi-page, fold open. Very clear, very concise. The kit fits very well. What Hasegawa had decided to do when they made their versions, other companies like Aoshima and Arai had made models from this series. But what they made was more on the animated look, how it looked in the original TV series. Very kind of rounded, balloonish, a bit out of proportion with itself. Hasegawa turned it on its head and decided, what if we took this and treated it like a realistic fighter? So they took a longer look at it, they straightened things out, streamlined it, based their designs more on the movie versions. Then they went through and added panel lines and slightly more realistic structures to the frames. Clear parts. One canopy, a bunch of different lights and sensors for the fighters. Looks like it's got some spares from other versions of the fighter. Some polycaps as well for some parts that will be adjustable in the kit. Leave this in the bag so it doesn't get scratched up. Okay, the first bag we're coming to looks like all of the more... Yeah, it's got a mix of parts for the Super and the Strike variant of the Valkyrie. Those are the fighter with large booster packs on the back and on the legs for weapons and extra fuel. And unlike the usual VF1 kits, these are molded in a ghost gray kind of color. So you got some of the armor packs here, some of the booster engines, two sprues of those, one left, one right. They're not handed, so to speak. Parts like this are, these are the outer faces, these are the inner faces for the fast packs. The idea for this, I believe, was based on the conformal fuel tank system for the F-15. The fighter itself originally was based on the F-14, and I believe the Department of the Navy gave Big West and the animating studios permission to use the Jolly Roger from the F-84 at the time, more famously known from the Final Countdown. You can see there's a lot of very fine scribed panel lines. This is your typical early 2000s Hasegawa kit. I think I built this once back in 2003, 2002. as it was new then. And these are more of the VE1 specific parts, the arm, the sensors, obviously the large AWACS disc on the other sprue. The kits are very nicely done though. But yeah, the Jolly Roger used on the Skull 1 character in the series is quite literally used with permission from the Department of the Navy. At least that's what the story is on it. Now, this sprue contains more of the fighter parts. It's basically the main bulk of the kit. I don't really like how they bagged everything up like that at once, so we're going to set it apart. And in typical Hasegawa fashion, if you want pilots, you have to buy the weapon set. I'm working on another VF1 that has different weapons on it, and I'm taking its pilots and putting them in this kit. So, upper fuselage, wings. The wings on the VE1 and VT1 are different. They're the trainer versions in this universe. They have these bulbs on the end of the wings. Don't know what they're for. They just look neat. I'm not going to delve into any further. Typical parts breakdown for an F-14-like airframe. It is a swing wing. They will be movable once you build it. This looks like it has all the parts to do a standard fighter variant, obviously molded in a dull gray type color, which is appropriate for this version of the airframe. A lot of double sprues in it. They contain the exhaust, the tail fins. Some of these parts you're not going to be using, as you need to build it with the legs slightly drooped and not straight out. More of the VE1 parts. These are part of the fast packs on the back and the antennas that come out of the side of the fast packs. So here you get a separate nose. This is the nose for the 1-seat version. I believe the other one was the 2-seat. Let me get that back out. Yes, it is. So it has a slightly longer cockpit opening with a dog leg on it. This has a shorter one. So you do get some leftover parts for a 1-seat version, and you get 2 upper parts. This allows you to move certain parts out of the way, and it makes it modular so they can do other kits. Control panels have some very nice raised detail on them. They get covered in decals, but if you put some Salvaset on there or Microsolve, they will conform very nicely. And then what we call the leg parts, for lack of a better term, but it's basically the engine pods. Separate landing gear doors, separate gear bays, intakes, compressor blade fans. Here's the ejection seats for this version. Focus real quick. They come in 4 pieces, different tail fins, and the intake portions of the engines. There's the main gear, nose gear, intake covers. And a pretty well-rounded decal sheet too. Let's get that a little closer for you. I know I'm being a little quick with this one. I'm just trying something different out. Instrument panels look really nice. From what I can remember, the graphics do match what you see on screen in the series, so they're very faithfully reproduced. And auto focus just crapped out. So this looks like it'll be a fun kit to build. From the time I built it before, and the reason I got a lot of these built before stories is moved overseas, moved back, and sadly a lot of this stuff didn't survive. No matter how well you package models, you can never pack them well enough. And because of that, a lot of them have been lost. So I'm just trying to rebuild and regain things that I've lost. This is one of them. It's going to be a fun one to build. Hopefully we'll have it on the channel sooner rather than later. And I hope if you like this little review, you get to jump in and watch the streams when I do get around to building it. So thanks for watching. Have a good day.